This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. I have the opportunity to visit with Ron Graber. He's with Kansas State University, Watershed Specialist. Ron, I'd like to talk about runoff control in confined feeding operations, and not necessarily ones that have to have a permit, but just the ordinary farmer. And control things that they can do in their everyday operation in management to help the runoff from the farm from livestock waste.
Okay, well, thank you. Pleasure to have a chance to visit with you a little bit, and certainly there are several of us that work for K-State as watershed specialists, and situations like what you're describing is what we work with guys with all the time. Things that they can do. Some of them are pretty simple management kinds of things in their day-to-day operations, and a lot of times we think about permits and we think about the guys that are feeding 2,000 head or even more, and they're really a total confinement kind of situation, and those are guys that have a certain kind of a special set of regulations that apply to them. But there's a lot of guys out there that have some cattle that don't necessarily quite fit in that set of circumstances, but yet environmentally there's a lot of things that they can do. And we often hear about neighbors getting visits from the regulatory agency, and those aren't real pleasant. And so there's some fairly simple things that can be done that can maybe ward off those kinds of visits. And we certainly can visit about those things.
Well, and certainly the site that you pick is an issue, but a lot of times those sites have been determined maybe a generation back, and you're still trying to manage that. So what can I do with that site to make the runoff the best possible?
Yeah, that's very true, Kyle. A lot of times we do have those sites that Dad fed there and Grandpa fed there, and maybe moving the site to a different location is not the most desirable thing. So there's some things that we can do, and one of them that's just a really sound simple thing, but scraping our pens on a regular basis. If we get in there and try to scrape those pens and remove that waste material or that manure and get it spread on in a field somewhere at an agronomic rate, then that just helps prevent any runoff from coming out of those pens when we do get the big rainfall events. And many of us have experienced those in the past year. We've had some really wet conditions. So just scraping pens on a regular basis goes a long, long ways to not only helping prevent runoff, but also helps with cattle performance, because we know that if cattle are wading around in mud and manure and they're knee deep in it, then they expend a lot of energy just getting to the feed bunk or to the hay feeders. So scraping pens is a tremendous thing. Another thing that goes along with that is where does the runoff that comes out of those pens, where does it go? Is it going into a crop field? Is it going into a bar ditch, a stream? Where might that be going? And something as simple as planting a grass vegetative buffer below that pen, so that when some of that runoff does come out, it has a chance to go work its way through a dense stand of grass, and that grass can help filter out those solids, settle them out, and that way we keep those nutrients on a field and maybe from leaving the property and getting into a waterway.
We're visiting with Ron Graber. Ron is a watershed specialist with Kansas State University. This is Kyle Bauer reporting.
Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego is driven by the spirit of American ingenuity. Come in for a new Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. If we don't have exactly what you want, we'll find it for you. And we also have a great selection of used cars. We make sure you have an easy, fun, and transparent sales experience that saves you time and money. But if you want high-pressure salesmen and hours spent in the finance office, you'll just have to go elsewhere. Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're making car buying great again.